43.
42. 41.
40.
39.
Number 1.
39.
38.
37.
36.
35.
34.
33. 32.
31.
30. 29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
21.
20.
19.
18.
17. 16.
15.
14.
13.
12.
11.
10. 9. 8.
7. 6. 5.
4.
3.5.
3.
2.
1.
Hey, Rocky, you want to see me pull a show out of my hat? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
And welcome to the Mouthwash Talk Show, a minty, fresh take on politics. And we got a show for you tonight. We got stuff going on. Now, of course, we didn't have a Witty show. He's out on assignment, and I did talk to him earlier this evening. And I think you just got to tune in for this assignment. This one's you just got to tune in. It's going to be interesting what he's up to. He is digging deep into some of this stuff that's going on. And all that, and there's a lot of stuff going on. Lawsuits being filed, and cats getting along with dogs. You just have to stay tuned. But we have a great guest tonight. Greg Meriweather has been on for a while. I've known Greg for 5-6 years now. He actually came on the Do Something Indy show, and we talked about community stuff. And lo and behold, a whole lot hadn't changed since we did our first show about 5 years ago. So it's going to be an interesting talk. We're going to talk about all sorts of stuff, crime prevention. It's just going to be let's put it this way. You're going to learn something tonight. You're going to learn something. But first, I have to roast my, I don't know, a sort of a nemesis, whatever. He's my enemy. Man, I'm having trouble talking here like this. Rob Kendall. He has got on my nerve. And he basically is giving me a hard time about actually trying to help somebody and actually just taking a picture of him. So the other last week he was giving Micah Beckwith, which, let me remind you, used to be his friend, and then he turns on him like a Doberman on his owner. And he is bad-mouthing him every chance he gets. Now, if you'll see Micah, he doesn't do that. He doesn't say anything bad about Rob or anything. I haven't seen anything bad about it. But Rob the Fool just keeps on scoffing on. And so he was giving a hard time about the picture that he took with the known felon at the Pacer game. But then he said, well, it's okay if you take it. But that's what he did with me and Gabe Whitley. It's like I tried to help that guy. That's all I did. I'm sort of a counselor. I've helped addicts over the years. I've helped them get over drugs. I've helped with relationships. I've helped people get over relationships or fix a relationship, but to get over some of this stuff, and I think I really could help Rob, get over himself, because he really thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, and he thinks he's that, he knows what's all this good. But I did a little digging myself, and I came up with this. Let's put this up here. I'll make it big screen. This is little Robbie Kendall back in 2014, July 9th. Just about 11 years ago, about the same time I was winning the Masters national or state championship crit thing. It's very unusual how these things work out. But apparently Rob was double dipping. He was on the council and he was on the research committee, the research development commissioner, and redevelopment commission. And that's against the law. And now I don't know the rest of this, but it looks like he got in a little bit of trouble, and it looks like the residents went after him. So basically, they said, we've had enough of him. He's got to go. I guess it's not legal to collect two salaries. But I do laugh. I got to laugh at the picture there in the middle. It's they always take a flattering picture when they want to drag you through the mud. So, he thinks he's all this great stuff and everything, and he's all this hot stuff. He's used it in his show. He bad mouths me on his show, and then I ask him about, hey, why don't you let me come on and tell my side of the story of this stuff? Because what he's telling is fabricated half truth garbage. So anyway, I've spent enough time on that clown, and you know what? If he wants to have a sit down talk about it, hey, come on. But right now he's a coward. You know, I called him out, and then he went radio silent. So Mr. Big Mouth is quiet now, and he's not. He's not. It's sort of like that picture. He got that look on his face there. But you know, we got a good show tonight. Let me take this down here and remove it. So we got a good show. We got a good show, and we're going to get to it. We have Greg Meriweather coming on here. I see Brad backstage, but I don't know where Tiffany is. Lucy's with her grandkids, but you know, this looks like me and Brad are going to have to hold down the fort tonight. But it will be good. And in the live comments, remember, if you are to let's see here. I got something here on here. There we go. Let's put this up. Hey, we post live. We got questions. So since we're down a couple of hosts, we're going to rely on the audience tonight to ask some questions. And I don't know, you know, I think some of our viewers live in the donut counties. I want to hear from y'all and see if you feel like it's safe to come downtown. And you know, let me know what's up with that in the comments. And if you have a question, please ask it. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's see. I don't know what I have here. If I have what I could play first of all here on that's going away. I feel like witty on the tabs. So, okay, I got him going here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Greg on. It looks like he's backstage ready to go. Oh, Mr. Meriweather, how are you this evening?
Let me get off mute, man. I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I feel like we're like the outcasts of Indy. Maybe we should be part of how can you make trouble in Indianapolis? And
listen, we stay in trouble, but it's all good. It's good trouble.
It's good. So tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get to it.
Man, that's always a tough one. Indianapolis native, Washington High School grad, Marion U grad, the first strategic initiatives liaison for the city, first host of the Black Expo television show. I'm a guy who just stays busy, cares about the city, cares about the state, cares about people, whatever it is that I can do to, you know, enhance humanity is what I'm all about. It's no color or creed. You know, when people see me, they usually hear me talk about, you know, a lot of things that go on in the Black community. I'm a Black man. It's no secret.
Really?
But when it's all said and done, you didn't notice?
Let me put my white racist comment in there. I don't see color.
But when it's all said and done, man, I want right to be right. And I want to fix some of the things that, you know, that I can fix in my time to make Indiana the great place that we claim that it is.
Yeah, I would just think I saw that the mayor was bragging about the on the LinkedIn, we were one of the best cities for jobs and things. I'm like, what did he have to do with any of that? It just makes me cringe. It's like, but what I think is how much better we could be. And I know that's sort of your mentality too, is like, hey, we can be better.
We can be better, man. You know, when we even look at just job opportunities, that's one of the things that when people get kind of upset, I challenge the council. You know, we can put all, you know, they can vote unanimously to put a lot of things in downtown Indianapolis, but when it's all said and done, they're representing the voice of their community. And when they vote to just place money and unanimously vote to place money in certain places, but don't take care of the people who actually voted for them, I have a problem with that. And so I challenge that, because I think that in order for Indianapolis to be great, it has to be great all over and not just in one place.
Yes, I agree. And I think that there's a complacency with the city. And, you know, and I know that, you know, Chief Bailey, and actually I remember when we were having a cocktail, he came in and is like, man, I'm sitting with Greg Mayer. It was when the chief first got his job. He's got to come over and pay his respects to Mr. Meriweather. I'm like, well, I didn't know I was with the celebrity here, but I mean, And you were involved under Chief Roach, right? It was that.
Yeah, I came in. I started out as a consultant with IMPD and OPHS, and then that morphed into me becoming the strategic initiatives liaison. And so at that point, yeah, I came on board with the city.
And that was around 2019. So I'm going to go ahead and play a clip now, folks. I asked Greg if I could play this about him and Shauna getting in some trouble here. Let me get it queued up here. I'm the producer and everything here. So we're going to do screen share, and let's see if we're going to do two in hot water. All right, let's see what we have here. Let's see if I can make it happen. Hold on a second. What did I do here?
Story we've been following ever since.
Hold on.
Backlash continues after 2 city employees posted offensive remarks online against the Indy 10-point coalition. It's a story we've been following ever since those posts were made public yesterday. And since then, it's turned political. Fox 59's Melissa Crash joins us now live in the newsroom to break down these new developments. Melissa.
Nick, earlier today, I spoke with mayoral candidate Jim Merritt, and just before this newscast, I spoke with Mayor Joe Hogsett. Both are disappointed, but for different reasons.
It's the exchange that sparked anger.
I was offended by that comment and felt like that comment was ugly and it was vile.
And put 2 people's jobs on the line.
Yeah, I'm disappointed profoundly by some of the comments that were made on personal social media.
Thursday, Reverend Charles Harrison shared an online comment from Greg Meriweather. He's a liaison with IMPD. He said 10 Point is out walking the track, seeming to compare the group to prostitutes. Shauna Majors with City Community Violence Reduction responded with $3 signs.
Inappropriate and unacceptable comments.
Those the community crime prevention grants, money Harrison and 10 Point rely on.
The city cannot take sides. It has to be supportive of all of these groups that are out here trying to do something about the violence.
Since the post, Meriweather was suspended for 3 days without pay. Majors got a formal warning and will not participate in this grant process cycle. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett expressing his disappointment.
I think the most disappointing aspect of this back and forth is it takes us off the real issue, and that is, how do we work together to keep our streets peaceful and our neighborhoods safer?
But Senator and candidate for Mayor Jim Merritt says more needs to be done.
After these awful and mean-spirited comments were made about people who try to protect our city, the mayor's reaction was to allow them to keep their jobs with a slap on the wrist.
Merritt announcing today if he were to win the mayor's race, he would create a deputy mayor for public safety. Already this year, the city is looking to hit another record for homicides.
Are we safer than we were 3 years ago?
10 Point says it's time to bury the differences instead of burying citizens.
And today I also reached out to other groups who have received the community crime prevention grants in the past to see if these online comments worry them. The application deadline is next week. However, I have not heard back. We will continue to follow this story, but for now, reporting in the newsroom, I'm Melissa Crash. Back to you.
All right. Hey, look, we got people now. We got to be on top because you guys were, Brad was almost on time. Tiffany, you were a little late, and then I almost had to say who let the dogs out because your dogs got in there and acted like they were in the clip. But man, there was a lot to unpack right there because I remember when this went down, and Charles Harrison, he's no angel in this because he was out there claiming that at 42nd and Post that there was no, wherever they were walking, there was no homicides. And there ended up being 20 or something. I mean, it was there was a lot of culpability. So I'll let you have a chance to respond to that because I remember when this went down, I'm like, man, something smells funny here on this.
Yeah, they made Jim Merritt made it a very political play. I mean, granted, I probably would have took the same play, but at the same time, I thought it was interesting how he viewed it. The mayor actually wanted to fire me. Let's keep it real. It's interesting he wanted to fire me, but didn't he? But Thomas Cook is another story.
Yeah. Oh, and there's plenty other
he
ones.
He wanted to fire me over a post, but he didn't want to fire somebody for, sexual essays and whatever. But nonetheless, the whole situation, there was a podcast, and it was called Standing in the Gap, and there was two pastors, and they were actually, the show was called Standing in the Gap because I had stopped doing my show. And at that time, they were basically did a show called Standing in the Gap until I returned. And on the show, it turned out everybody started asking what 10 Point was doing. And so, I just typed something that was on my chest. The problem that I had at the time with 10 Point, now let me say this, in hindsight, would I have said this? Probably not. But at the time, when I looked at 10 Point, I found it interesting that in the Butler Tarkington area, they were getting a lot of credit for not having homicides, but they were looking at an age range. And I was like, so if somebody is 23 years old who dies in your community, you get to step over them and say, that's not on my watch, because I'm only focused on ages 16 to 22. And so at that point, I was like, what are you really doing? You're not stopping anything. And I'm also one who says, if your program is so good, why aren't you why are people not taking the blueprint of what you do and utilizing it to a point where we can stop violence all over the country? And so when I said it, it was just kind of interesting because I know that a lot of money was being transferred and a lot of things that people said that they were doing, they were not doing. If I compared it, if I had to have a comparison today, I probably wouldn't say prostitutes. I'd probably say pimps. Because when it's all said and done, prostitutes, there's a different service for that. So when I look and you're just gaining money for not doing anything at all, I think that that was the inception of bad programs in Indianapolis that become political and allow people to make a dollar by saying that they're doing something while crime goes through the roof. And at this point, if we look in hindsight, I was probably the first person to call it out, and I would still call it out today.
Yeah, and if I don't even know where 10 Point is, and all I know is that if Charles Harrison, he is a very let's put it this way, thin-skinned, I guess, because if you are to question anything, but they had some stuff there, just as you said, that just didn't add up. It was like promotion numbers, like, hey, we had 10 people in the thing, but we got 100.
Let's be real, John. I mean, we look at it right now. Every year, I don't care how many times we see non-fatals. I don't care how many times we've had what 200 plus since COVID, since 2020 or 2020. Yeah, we've had 200 plus every year since then, and you've given out $60 million plus. And at the end of the day, we've seen an influx of crime or murder. And every time we hear the news, it's 30%. We're down 30%. We're down 30%. And I'm like, how has this continued? I mean, this past weekend, what we have, 7 homicides, 8 non-fatals. The weekend before, we had about the same. So you're having about 15 people getting shot every single weekend, and you're still calling 30%. So for me, I'm like, at some point, we've got to do a better job of being honest and giving transparency to the citizens of Indianapolis, because until we're honest, and if we continue not being honest, you'll never solve the problem.
Yep. And on that, Brad, I'm gonna let you get in here in a minute. I want to go ahead and play this next clip because
I've been loving it. I'm sorry.
I know it's like I'm telling you, this is going to be people are going to learn some stuff tonight. I'm going to play the.
And I want to get into the suspension after this clip, though.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's do that now because I want to segue into the next.
So I get a call. The first people who called me were the media because I didn't think it would have been that big of a deal. But I got a call from the media asking for my comments. I'm like, what are you talking about? And it was funny. It was Ruth Ann Gordon. Shout out to Ruth Ann. She's a good friend. And she was like, man, what's your comments about what you said? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I found out who sent it. But nonetheless, Chief Roach calls me and he says, hey, man, I need to meet you. And I said, okay. He said, where you want to meet? We met at Goodfellas Pizza on Bass, and we sat and talked. And he said, hey, I'm telling you, the mayor wants me to fire you. And I said, okay, well, let's do that. I said, it'll make for a good headline tomorrow. and he said, that's what I'm trying to tell him. And so we sat and we talked. And And he just, he was like, man, people gun for you because you pretty much call out the issues of the city, and you're very open with it, and people just don't like that. And I said, you know what? I said, suspend me. And he's like, I'm not suspending you. And I was like, no, suspend me. I said, everybody's going to cheer because Greg Meriweather took a beat down on TV. And he says, I'm not suspending you. I said, here's what we'll do. I said, and this was a play. I'm going to tell y'all why this was a play. Being a civilian attached to IMPD at the time, I knew that there were a lot of bad things that happened with IMPD. And I knew that officers would get set on the sidelines with pay for doing far more heinous acts than typing a text on social media. And I said, suspend me with no pay. And at that point, I knew that I would enhance my voice because they would suspend me with no pay. And anytime an officer did anything that I thought was far beyond what I did, I would speak up about it and say, you let me sit on the sidelines with no pay. So what happened was I said, suspend me for 3 days. I said, suspend me for 3 days with no pay, and everybody's going to clap. And when he did it, I watched on the news, and I was like, okay, I'm on vacation. And I think I took a vacation.
Take off.
And at that point, everybody's calling to check on me. Like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. Because I was sworn to secrecy at the time not to say that I sentenced myself. And so at that time, I did. I fell on the sword and I said, just suspend me for 3 days. And they did it. And that's pretty much the result of that.
Yeah, and it's like, I just remember that was going on. That was when we had Terrence Hood just got out of the slammer, and Shane Shepard.
Was high-level crime prevention.
Oh my gosh. I went over, that's a whole nother show, but that's where that money was going. That money was going to these places that were somewhat of a facade of, oh, look what we're doing. But they were just, they weren't really doing anything.
I feel like there has to be more places like that would open up like that then. I mean, well, that's one of the things too, Greg. Like, that's what I love is, like, I think all of us can see problems and we're not like depressed to the point where like, oh no, we have to paint this rosy picture. Like, no, there's work to do. Like, there's a lot of issues that everybody wants to solve. So
go ahead.
Well, no, and I want to go back and watch this at the beginning and what you two were talking about, being outcast and stuff. It was like you guys were describing woke. Like, you guys were two just woke dudes talking about stuff.
Yeah, we sort of got in it the same way.
No, but that's it. Like, we're wanting things better for the community. We want better things just for the humanity around us. Like, this is like the waste of life that we're seeing sometimes is terrible. So
I think we've got to get more involved with the heart. When it's all said and done, a lot of organizations, man, are simply being built for money. And there's never been a high level of checks and balances that have come by way of whatever this elevation grant or all these things that have come to be. There's just not been a real checks and balances. And I think the city did an awful job when they said it takes a criminal to stop crime. I think that was the most ridiculous thing that they ever created when they said, let's go get the guys who just came home or who just been incarcerated, and let's allow them to lead the charge on stopping crime. And I'm like, how does that happen? And all we did was we gave a lot of money to a lot of people who then took the money and they started living their best lives and utilized the children as a hustle.
Yep. And I noticed the other day you put on there about the legends in our community, the shooters. I've seen, hey, I go up to Hallville, I go up to 38th. I know what we're talking about. They see these people that are shooters. And, there's somebody that went away and they come out and they're like, I want to be like, and I noticed you were talking about we need to emulate people that are doing more things, but
sure, we figured out to make failures look like success. And when you realize that, how does, and this is just me being honest, Tina Cosme will never have me on WTLC. And only because I speak the truth. But the day last week, the day before the chief was on about the crime, in downtown Indianapolis, she had Shane Shepherd on. And anybody who knows anything about IMPD knows that IMPD has still been searching, have been wanting, they've had dying confessions about him being considered the boogeyman of Indianapolis. And they put him on the air as the person who can help resolve or solve crime.
Yeah, I think
and
he's
I'm
down
like,
in
how does
Louisiana
this
now. I think
happen?
he's not even around here anymore. I think he's in Louisiana with his
He's
big homies.
creeped back in. Yeah.
Yeah, that was so. I want to get to the next. Tiffany, I know you're just hogging this whole show, and you're sitting there just watching this stuff. I want to go ahead and play this next clip. This what I'm going to set up here is I got Chief Bailey with his plead. Well, that was on Friday for the thing. So let me see if I can get this thing lined up here to go. Let me start it over.
Do you want me to take the opportunity to make fun of Brad while we're doing this?
Hey, I put on a suit coat, okay? Like, I'm not a bum. You were trashing me last week.
Hold on a second, I did it wrong.
Because you were crying about something.
Aunts,
Here we go.
cousins,
Hold on. Keep talking.
Mentors, anybody that has reach to young people in our community to send them a message of peace. Good afternoon, Indianapolis. It's another beautiful Friday. And as we head into the weekend, I want you to know that your police department is as committed as ever to keep you safe. But we need some help. We need some help from everyone in our community. Parents, guardians, aunts, uncles, cousins, mentors, anybody that has reach to young people in our community to send them a message of peace, a message of hope, that your life matters, that your choices matter, both for you and everyone around you. I'm asking and I'm begging that we have a peaceful and safe weekend, that everyone, no matter where you're at, no matter what neighborhood that you're in, no matter what environment that you're in, that you're able to have peace, and that we make it through this weekend with no one getting hurt. And I'm only focusing on a short period of time, just this weekend. I'm asking for help from everyone in the community. Let's put the guns and the weapons down. Let's put the hate down. Let's love one another. Let's look at this precious life that we only have one of and give it the grace and the meaning that it deserves.
All right, now hold on. That was Friday, and now this is what happened. Okay.
Wait, can I add something though? Because you know what, schools should really help by sending a message of peace and hope. But we can't because it's that's social emotional learning, and that's wrong.
Whatever.
So,
Whatever.
No. Like, how is that? Can we have that talk too? Because if teachers are the ones indoctrinating or whatever, according to Micah, I cannot wait for him to be on next week. By the way, that's gonna be awesome.
Whatever. This is not social emotional learning. This is the impact of social.
No, but they're asking for help from
single family household, the over incarceration of Black men, the rampant drug use. I mean, like, this is so many things. And social emotional learning, it's
a drug.
It's like giving a whale a Tic Tac.
So by that logic, then why is everybody so worried about it?
Thank you. Why what?
Why is everybody so worried about it then?
We are worried because these kids are losing their lives. It's funny when I was listening to that.
No. I mean about the social emotional learning. If it's like
see, Brad, that's the thing. That's the thing. It's like you are muddying the water so bad. And I know I came in late, but it seems like we're talking about how dangerous Indianapolis is, and the deaths, the unnecessary gun violence, and losing young people. It has nothing to do with social emotional learning, considering that school is out for summer.
What are they asking for though? What was that? What was he asking for in that video?
He was asking for people to put the guns down and not shoot and kill each other.
Okay, well, that'd be a good segue now. I got this thing pulled up, so let's see what actually happened this weekend.
Did the mentors do it?
I'd love to have a producer. All right, remember the mics are live. Oh, wait, do I got it on?
That's horrible.
Hold on. Oh, I got started again.
Shot and killed, 2 shot and killed.
6 mapping out another violent weekend here in Indianapolis. Tonight, Metro Police are investigating at least 8 separate shootings over the weekend. In all, a dozen people shot, 6 of them killed. And all of this comes after a week of police and community leaders pushing for peace.
The message seemingly not resonating with everyone over the weekend. Ashton Hackman explains it's not just police and families of the victims now that are feeling the impact of this violence.
As the coroner for Marion County, being around death is part of the job for Alfie McGinty.
This job.
Do people think it's like a hollow message?
We are coming in contact with people
yeah.
Who are encountering the worst day of their life.
28 years in her field, she says the victims seem to get younger, the number of families impacted growing.
We know that now the majority of those that die between 13 and 18 died to homicides and gunshot wound injuries.
Teen gun violence is a problem plaguing Indianapolis. Of the 6 people shot and killed in the city this weekend, 3 of the victims were younger than 16. The youngest was just 2 years old. It was the 4th weekend clouded with the aftermath of gun violence.
Sometimes our weekends are sort of dreaded because we don't know, what is going to happen. What is making our young people, or even people in general, become less patient in the way in which they deal with confrontation?
Homicide numbers, though, are down significantly from around this time last year, a nearly 30% drop through July 1st. The coroner says overall death investigations are also down, dropping nearly 3% last year.
That's always good when we see decreases in death investigations.
Although the number of death investigations taking place every year is slowly on the decline, it's still having an emotional toll on the coroner and her staff.
Dealing with death on a regular basis, sometimes I have to pull some of my staff and just say, you need to take some time.
A coroner not only handling the county's death investigations, but playing her part in finding potential solutions to the gun violence. In Indianapolis, Ashton Hackman, 13 News.
All right. I know Alfie. I mean, I've been around her. I don't know her, and she was a very upbeat person. And I don't know how, think about it. You're looking at 200 people a year that have been killed, plus all the other stuff that goes through the coroner's office. No, thank you. That's a job that I don't want.
I think even a bigger revelation is the fact that she can look at her staff and say, take a break. But when you look at how many people in the Black or African American neighborhoods who cannot take a break and not getting the trauma or the help with trauma, who are not going to therapy, and they're saying they're okay, but people who even work in death are taking breaks. So when we look and realize that people are not able to take a break from their community, they go to work, they get up every day. Kids are going to school every single day with death all around them every single day. When you realize that 200 plus people are dying every single year, sometimes 8, 7 a week, it's like something has to change, because the mentality, sick minds do sick things. And until we get to a place of helping the minds, I don't think there's a resource that you can give anybody in intangibles. You can't hand out things thinking it's going to change the way people are thinking.
Yeah, and I think one of the things,
because it's normalized. When 8 to 7 people are dying every weekend, if you play basketball with, I don't know, like 20 guys, and then like 1 week, one guy's not there, and then a couple of weeks later, another guy's there, this normalizes it. And I think that that's the worst part in these communities, is that there's no trauma, there's no therapy, there's no, in the military, we called it critical incident stress management. And that's where, like, if a plane went down or something horrible happened, you'd bring in therapists, you'd do a circle, you would talk about your feelings and what you saw, and you would let people tease that out so that they would be able to tell the difference between a trauma and what's real and talk through their issues. But I think that it's part of the systematic attack on these communities of color, where not only are we going to allow the proliferation of guns, gangs, and violence and let you kill each other, we're not even going to help you heal mentally. So it's this self-fulfilling prophecy.
I love exactly what you just said, Tiffany, because if an officer goes down, there is a heartfelt pause. There is something that says, all right, guys and gals, let's go get some help. If one officer goes down, there is a pause. And when we think about this and we realize that they have the knowledge to know it for themselves, but when it's all said and done, how do you know that this is not helping with crime prevention? So if you can look and say, we need a pause if one of ours goes down, what happens in the community? And I'm like, why is that message not relayed? Why aren't there? I challenge Ryan Mears. Why isn't there a PSA that says, you don't want to see me? I'm the last person on earth you want to see because I'll send you to prison. Why is there nothing that says 5 pounds of pressure can change your life? Why is there nothing that says stop killing? Why is there no PSAs on the radio that says murder, kill, drugs, sex are not good things? These things, why are we not looking at TV and seeing things? What's Radio 1's social responsibility as it relates to homicides? Nobody is really doing the things that says community is involved in it. They're just going along and saying, we just want you to stop. But I can kill somebody every day and nobody holds me accountable.
Yeah,
that's
preach it, brother, preach it.
And to your point about non-prosecuting crimes, the lower level crimes, they're gateway crimes.
Yeah.
You get away with something, it gets bigger, it gets bigger, it gets bigger. And if you can nip it in the bud, you can end some of this stuff. And some of the criticism does fall on some of the Black churches for like not being open after school, not having programs. I'm Catholic. I go to St. Matthew at 56 in Benford, and we have CYO League. We've got
that falls on the churches.
We have sports, and so some of these churches could come up with their church leagues, so that these kids have something to do. We forget how important education and sports are, and then during the summer, what do these kids have? Brad, as much as I hate to agree with you, there is some measure of conflict resolution that needs to be understood, implemented, and taught in some of these communities. And it all, Greg, and I think we're probably similar in age. It reminds me of the 90s and the gang violence. And I think that the world changed for the worse in the summer of 1991 when Boys in the Hood came out. It was the worst movie ever for the African-American community. It was horrible for Black men. And it created this idea that, well, it didn't create as an idea. It just showed people gang violence on the large screen. It got to every corner of the United States, and it showed people something, and they just have been emulating it and recreating it for decades. And I think that's the issue, is that, but if you think about it, guns, drugs, and violence, those are things that people do when they don't have the alternative to that. And that is safety, education, and money. So, you've got to fix it.
Now, I want to do a shout out to Jeffrey Thomas over at Charity on 10th over in Huntsville. Greg, you probably know Jeffrey, right?
Yeah.
And they have a very vibrant youth after school young kids program. And it's just what you were talking about, Tiffany. I got a question. I know you had a thought there, Greg, but before I forget it, because I start listening to you guys and I forget what I was going to ask. I think that it would be really important if at any of these murder scenes that all these council people and the mayor and the deputy, they would have to go out and visit each one of these spots. Now, I know that they used to do that. In fact,
they never get any sleep at night.
Well, but they finally get tired of it. I think they would finally get tired of it and do something.
Where's the funding for all this?
So this is my thing, Greg.
Remind them, why is this stuff being funded?
Greg, if you run for mayor of Indianapolis,
all this therapy, they should have it. Who is not footing the bill? I guess, is it a tax thing? Is it always going to come down to taxes?
As far as
the whole mental health profession is understaffed, so I'm sure there aren't any government mental health employees are available to do CISMs for kids. But I think that
you had a question.
Yeah, I was gonna. I can't forget.
I'm
This is
sorry.
what happens to me. I start
You
listening
asked
to
if
you
I were to
people.
run for mayor.
Oh, this is what you need to do. And I tried to float this
There you
to
go.
the
Tiffany's
guy
advice.
who's in Congress now, the guy who ran for Congress.
Jefferson Shreve.
Yeah, I floated this to Jefferson. If you want to end gun violence in Indianapolis, you need to get I don't know, have a 1,000 mom rally, get 10,000 moms together, and when you put services, time, and love into those moms, the community needs to pour into those moms so that they can pour into their kids. And we need to have the conversation about, we love you moms, we know you've got a lot going on, these are the resources in the community, this is what we can do for you. And then also as moms, we've got to come together and say, you know what, if you see my child acting up, so you pull my child aside and then you call me on the phone, because that's the thing that's happened is that, I raised my daughter mainly on my own. I'm a divorced mom. We grew up in Fisher, so a little bit, north of 38th Street.
Hood.
The
She grew
thing
up in
is
the hood,
that
Greg.
if I'm not available, I trust my girlfriends to tell me if my child has done something. And I am going to believe an adult before I believe a child. And so that's the thing, is that like you cannot do it on your own. It takes a village. Again, another Hillary Clinton thing, but it takes a village. And we need to create our own villages. When I moved here, I was working for Lilly. I had 2 or 3 single moms, other moms that could support me. Somebody who could get Michaela home from school if I couldn't get her, somebody who could take her to karate if I couldn't do it. And those moms have got to come together and put their arms around each other, and the community needs to do it first. I told Jefferson, you need to pull the moms together. That's the only way you're going to solve it.
Well, just think if we would have spent that $60 million on moms instead of this other nonsense. I mean, seriously.
Well, but I don't think there's like a game plan though. Like it needs to be. I think they're just tossing
You
whatever
should take
they
notes
can.
when I talk, Brad. Brad, you should take notes when I talk.
Well, but I think the moms should call out the dads too. Like,
but you know what? In the black
family
community,
values and stuff.
that's like a joke. That's like a joke. It used to be like in the 90s. It's like, oh my God, can you find a dad at the NBA draft? No, it is really the moms who are doing the majority of the work. Brad, you're speaking like you do not understand the decimation of the African American family. Welfare made it so that it was more profitable to stay separate, not marry. So you got that going on. You've got your crimes that would send somebody to jail forever for crack and for
Nonviolent crimes
years.
with maximum sentences. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh no, and yes.
I mean,
3-strike rules, mandatory minimums, you name it. Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it. And when to truly understand the African American community and the plight of the black man and the black woman, you have to understand some of the social constructs and why we are where we are. And I'm not saying that we need to play victim and that we can't get out of it, because you can, but you really have to understand everything that's going on. It's going to take a village. Our churches are going to have to get involved. We're going to help parent everybody. There's one PSA that I've heard, and I don't know if it's in Indianapolis, but Ben Carson said it, or comes from HUD. If you want to get out of poverty, you have to do 3 things: graduate high school, get married, and then have a kid. If you do any of those things, if you're impoverished, you have, I think, like a 95% of getting out of poverty if you graduate high school, get married, and then have children. If you do any of those 3 things in the wrong order, you will stay in poverty.
So Robert, our loyal viewer, says no morals.
That's a good one. I wonder who that was targeted to, but that's an interesting concept. I think that we have to. There's so many things. The tentacles of racism are so wrapped into so many things that, even when we talk about the ROI for Black people when they graduate from college, it's so poor. When we look around, and Indianapolis has done a great job of getting Black people to be diversity champions, yet they look around even in their own world and don't see Black people yet accept the award. And so when it's all said and done, it's like we've got some responsibility of our own to stop blocking talent, to stop blocking people who speak up about things, to allow young Black men to see talented Black men. We've gotten to a place, even when you think about places like Black Expo, there's not been a Black man over Expo since the man created it died. And so when you realize in the city of Indianapolis that Black men are being exiled, they're not being seen, unless you're a Black man who gets on board with things that do not help Black people, you will not have a voice in this city. I know it. I'm a graduate. I'm a person who's built a career. I'm a person who's an author. I'm a person who's created. And when it's all said and done, you will find more Black leaders in Indianapolis that say that is a problem more than they would say that I'm a solution.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You have your Shane Shepherds and your, Terrence
They
Hoods.
pick all the guys to go speak to kids, and they don't say go get the guy from Hallville who could have got in the same trouble, who was out in the streets, who figured it out and made a way, and let's put him in front of our kids. They go get the guy who said, I just got home and I got a lot of bodies on my name.
Yeah, I've been in for 20 years. It's like
the truth.
It is the truth.
And that's under our current mayor's administration.
Yeah.
Greg, I used to think that when you think about the opportunity for a child to get themselves out of this situation, I think that there has to come a point where we recognize that, there's probably thousands of children in the same situation. And there has to be a time that you can intervene in their lives to really put them in control. And often that control is, I'm going to join the gang, or I know there's a lot of pressures that go into the choices that people make, but, like a backpack, an alarm clock, a job at school. Do you remember when Newt Gingrich suggested that that underprivileged children work at school like janitors or something like that? People ate him alive. They ate him alive, but the wording,
that's such a Republican idea.
The wording may have been wrong, but those kids, it's like you give them a job, you give them opportunity, you give them responsibility, you're paying them for their effort. I mean, that goes a real long way. You're giving them a safe place to be after school. You have to look at all of the things that it provides, and it may sound horrible. Oh my God, I don't want my kid to be a janitor. But you know what? This is a way that we can keep them at school and help instill some of those values in them. I think that, people often laugh when people try to instill the dignity of work and what it does for the soul. And so you have these children who don't have these opportunities. And if you can create them at school in a safe space, how is that a bad thing?
Yeah,
here's my thing. When we talk about economics, here's one of the things that I do know from just getting the statistics. I know that the Latin community is they're not high on the economic spectrum. Yet I realize every year I look and there's probably one homicide of a Latino person. There are currently 0. And when I realize that, I'm saying there's a bigger problem. But when I know what's fed into the minds of young kids, our programs don't say go get a child in the 3rd grade. Our program says wait until character is developed, mindset is developed, actions are developed, and then go try to talk to them, as opposed to say let's go get some kids when they're kids, when they're young children, and start implementing some things. Let's say this is bad, this is good, you can do this, and give them exposure, show them things that they can be. By the time you hit the 6th grade, it's like I've already been exposed to so much in the hood that I'm already ready for it. I know now I have a decision to make. And if I look and mom's at work and she's struggling and bills aren't getting paid, then I'm more likely to become the man of the house by doing something to make sure we make ends meet. And I think that we've got to get to a place where we say, you know what, let's go touch them at a younger age so that we can stop some of this crime.
Yeah, I mean, you hear these things about boot camp and, say a kid's bad and they're, out of high school, they go to the military and that straightens them out. I don't know. I just don't think we're getting to these youth early enough with and addressing the smaller problems. And then they just, and let's face it, when we were all kids, what's the first thing your kid would ever say? I'm bored. I'm bored. My kids are like that.
Exactly.
We're bored. I said, we just went surfing down the Mount Kilimanjaro and you're bored, but that seems like
that's an excuse.
Yeah, it's an excuse for I'm going to do something stupid, but I think
but you got leaders, you got so-called community leaders that ride on that. What does it mean to give an untrained mind a nightclub? What does it mean to give an untrained mind a lock-in? I've heard so many horror stories from churches that have had lock-ins that man, it was just wild to the degree where they don't want to do them anymore. Again, we have to stop looking at the symptoms. It's like, go look at the source, go look at the real issue.
Look at the cause.
Look at the cause of this symptom and start saying, okay, let's address some of this stuff. And then again, we can't politicize this. We can't. Mayor Hogshead has done the thing where he has played politics with this murder thing, this crime thing, because when it's all said and done, people don't know. I wrote the job description for the crime prevention director. The organization didn't exist. And the minute someone challenges him, you're out. I've not had any involvement since then. But if you look last week, and I was on Fox 59, and Cameron Riddle asked for a suggestion, I said, why can't the police? I said, if I was jaywalking and the police saw me, they'd get on the PA system and tell me to get on the curb. Why are they not at the time where curfew is over or starting? Why can't they get on the same PA system and ride through downtown and say, it's time to go? Simple. I talked to all of a sudden when I bring it up, they're like, we've been doing it. I said, no, you haven't. It wouldn't be on the news. But the problem is they don't want to say Greg Meriweather came up with another idea that we're going to use and we're going to implement it. And so what's being done is the people who really bring great suggestion are on the sidelines and they want nothing to do with them because it's politics. It's not about saving lives. And that's where Joe Hogshead fails.
Yeah. And it's, yeah. And I think the morale is just so bad because of all the stuff that's going on. I think a spark of a good leader that is going to be a servant leader that's going to be out there and all this stuff. And he's just not. He'll pop up and he's just not there. So
like, why isn't he just hanging out downtown, just like the vibe?
Because he doesn't want to get shot.
But that's another thing too, though. Like the map, though. Like
facts.
like that's a whole 465 circle, though, right? Like
yeah. Well, hey, the stuff. The stuff this weekend was mostly above I-70, except for a couple on the east side. And you look at, I'm going to brag on my neighborhood. I'm going to brag on my neighbors a little bit. You know, we've been in here 10 years. I think the first year we here, there was a double homicide, drug-related death, 2 blocks from our art center. But we don't get the red dots here. You know, we have a few problems here, but I was looking tonight outside. We got kids in the streets. 5 years ago, we wouldn't have kids riding in the streets. We got people walking their dogs. We got, you know, houses being fixed up. But it's got to take, you know, we got to eat the elephant little bites at a time, one neighborhood at a time. You know what? And I'll tell you exactly how much money the city's put in our neighborhood. 0. I'll tell you and how much money me and my wife have taken from the city. 0. And our neighbors have embraced just acting like people, you know, do neighborly things and take care of each other.
One of the first
woke garbage, John. Get that woke garbage out of here.
I think one of the first draws to having children downtown to the degree that we do were the scooters.
Yeah.
Oh man, the scooters are so fun.
Transportation.
Yeah. I mean, you take a poor kid who don't, like, you think about it, a poor kid who doesn't even have a bike, and all of a sudden I can get out and I could be in the streets of downtown Indianapolis on a scooter, man, I'm there.
Yeah, and go-kart, man. Yeah.
You know, it's almost like the scooters were a draw. And I don't think they really thought deep and hard about it. And I think that all of a sudden you looked and you just saw people just drawn to the activity of just being downtown and enjoying a nice ride on a scooter. I mean, that's
an amazing observation, because if you're downtown Indianapolis, right at about like 10 or 11, those scooters are like everywhere. Why? Well, here's a thought. If we really care about crime prevention, why don't we get rid of the scooters and just kind of round them up?
Oh, hold on. You can't get rid of those scooters because the city gets $25,000 permit from all those scooter people.
But
the city gets money from them.
The thing is, Greg, I get your position that nobody wants to give you credit, but golly geez, a scooter to an inner city kid, it's kind of like to the suburban kid when you get that first bicycle and you get outside the neighborhood, then you go to the corner and then the next corner, and then the next thing you know, you're on the other side of town. It's the same exact thing. It's eye-opening, and it's probably amazing and exhilarating for these children.
Absolutely.
But if you're the mayor and you're in charge of everyone's safety, you might want to say, hey, let's not do this. This is probably what we don't need.
The other thing, Tiffany, we got to think about, even when you talked about like backpacks, you know, in an era, and I'll go back to when we said that children don't have anything to do. Our literacy rate says that they do. The other thing is this. It's like when you've made backpack giveaways the thing that makes you a community activist, I think it's a poor thing. But then when you realize that kids don't have books, kids don't read well, and 3, the backpacks now are the first sign downtown of a person who is carrying a weapon.
Yep.
They're
Or
worn
some drugs.
backwards,
Yeah.
and the weapons are in the front.
Oh.
Wow.
So there goes your backpack giveaway.
By the way, but libraries are still awesome and should be frequented by the youth of America.
That's Brad's shameless
They should
plug.
all ride their scooters over there so that they can listen to books read by
As long
drag
as they
queens.
listen, as long as they use the bike rack, I'm fine. It's when the kids come in and just park it right next to the door. It's like, get your lazy ass over there and put it in the bike rack.
Hey, you're sounding like a Republican now, old man.
Brad, wow.
Don't put it on the grass.
Yeah, get off
But
the
no,
ground.
but no, real talk. The backpacks are truly a sign now that IMPD is aware of, that backpacks are now used for heavy artillery, and it's a sad thing to see. But they're worn. They're worn. The backpack is worn with the backpack on the chest area now. Yeah.
So what? Earlier I was trying to get to a point about retaliation, and it seemed like we got to a point where we had a certain number of homicides, and then the next part of that was those getting back with those people, and then always around. I always heard around Christmas time there was always a little increase there because somebody didn't pay. They got to pay their debt, this gangsters kids need something for Christmas, so we got to go collect. We got to go bust some heads to get our money.
I mean, let's be real. The grandest part of crime is the seasons. I mean, when you take on Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, listen, that's when you feel poverty the most.
Right.
And at that point, it's like, listen, I got to go out here and shake things up.
Yep.
And the sad thing is, we've when I say the tentacles of racism are so strong, but the crazy thing is, we have made toy giveaways something special. Poor people don't need toys. At the end of the day, that's not the truth. And when we realize that you give away toys and the rent is due or past due or the light bill's past due and people are in the dark, we give away turkeys to people that that ovens are not working. We do all this stuff to make us feel good. We're not changing the problem. It's like we become status quo agents, thinking that we're actually helping people, but all we're doing is helping people stay where they are. Until we develop something that brings progress, I'm over the giveaways. It's the Pavlov theory. It's like, by the time I ring the bell, you're salivating. And we now know when the bell is ringing. If you need a backpack, we'll go get you one. If you need a coat, we'll go get you one. If you want a ham or turkey, we'll go get you one. If you need toys, we'll go just stay where you are. And that's become the system of advocacy. And that's not a real advocate, because we are no longer teaching a man how to fish. We're giving them fish and expecting a different behavior.
So the incentives shouldn't be like material based.
It should not.
So then
no. To Greg's point, as I hear you talking, it should be like knowledge giveaways. Like, here's some books for you.
Thank you.
And
I think that comes through like having speakers. Like Greg, you talked about Black Expo. Have you had Jason Reynolds come out?
No,
he's an author of young adult fiction. He's awesome.
Okay.
And I mean, he spoke at our ILF conference a couple years ago, and it was really great. So I think, you guys should reach out to him too, because he's just awesome.
You guys.
He's talking about Indiana Black Expo, which they
right.
Brad, they kicked me out.
He meant to say you people, Tiffany. He didn't mean you people.
You guys.
So, I was mentioning earlier, I put up this clip about the weather. I Greg, before we got on,
I mean,
said,
he's right.
I think everybody gets hot and bothered around this time of the year, and
you can tell when the weather changes, the murder rate goes up. And so, though I live in Fishers, I mean, I grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I mean, like I seen some stuff. So, I mean,
Fishers had one of the worst road rage incidents, like in the past couple of years. It was a white dude, just for argument's sake, I guess. But yeah,
one at Walmart.
Yeah, and then while he was in jail, he wanted to he tried to get a contract out to kill the witness in his case. So yeah, geez, above 38th, I guess that's
the human element is everywhere. Shangri-La does not
Anybody
exist.
can come to Walmart, so we don't screen them.
And we don't. At least we don't have the Beach Grove Walmart near us. Well,
that's why it's on 96th Street.
I want to shift gears to the political side of this now, Greg. I know you ran for mayor in the primary before. You got? I mean, I'd vote for you for mayor. I would. I mean, you got that thing. You got that thing that people would follow. But I know there is.
It's becoming a buzz.
Yeah. Can I be a deputy mayor if you win?
Well, here's the thing.
That would be trouble. We'd be in trouble.
So here's the thing,
both
though.
Hands.
Here's the thing, Greg, and I don't know much about your campaign for mayor, but it seems like you can figure out one of the biggest problems. And once you quell some of the violence issues, what a great place for even more economic prosperity. But like, how are you on the other side of the equation? Indianapolis having a global presence, continuing economic prosperity and bringing things in and keeping businesses. Where are you on that? Because at the end,
that's what the Secretary of State's for, Tiffany.
No, it's not true. But at the end of the day, that's what people want, because people can always live out of the city or on the outskirts, or not in the hot spots. So if you run on a public service campaign, you're going to lose on the economic side.
I think that when you make the city a place that's welcoming, when people are not concerned about things like crime, when you realize that we've created this environment that's a destination spot, we've got good bones. At the end of the day, we've done some great work. There's been great structure. Downtown is growing. The Pacers had an amazing run. Indianapolis was we were right there front and center nationally, even internationally. I think you capitalize that on making it safer. I think the other thing is, for me, I just talked about this, is going to talk to different leaders in Indiana. I know former Mayor Brainerd, and to be able to say, what is it that you did? How do you keep your streets a certain way? Learning all the things of infrastructure, not being cheap on material, figuring out a way. I know Mayor Hogshead has kind of tried to hang his hat on not having taxes and things of that nature. At some point, we have to look and say, what do we want to be? And would we rather have the complaints of people saying that every year I drive in my car and I never get the return when I bust up my rims and tires? Or do we say, let's figure out how to fix the street so you don't have to? And I think that at the point of us looking at all the dynamics, still building the relationships, being able to bring in more business, becoming more inclusive, looking and saying, where is culture? I said it on an old video. Every culture in New York has to live for New York to be New York. It may not be on the magnitude, but at some point it is on a magnitude in its own community. We have to get better at embracing each other in Indianapolis. If we want to be the crossroads, and I say we need to start doing a better job of, dotting our I's and crossing our T's to make sure that everybody who wants to live in Indianapolis and thrive at least has the ability to do it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this is one of the big problems. This is a report by Eviction Lab data shows 26,475 eviction filings in 2023. And I know it's even a little bit more than that. Affordable housing. And I know that that's one of the things that I preach about affordable housing is, we have a permitting system that adds $6,000 to $10,000 to $12,000 in delays and costs to every project. And yet nobody wants to fix that. And, affordable housing is not $1,200 a month. I'm sorry.
No.
It is not. That's what they consider when they do enough development. They'll say, we're going to.
But isn't that also an issue, though? Like, that market needs to come back down. And I'm sorry, Tiffany.
It is not going to come back down.
God, thank you guys for that shot of optimism.
I mean, what is low income housing at this point?
No, and
that park bench. It's a park bench or under a bridge.
I'm just saying, when I look at it and I realize that so much has drastically changed economically, I think that, when it's all said and done, we don't want to be a city that's really pushing all our citizens out, because let's be real. Even with the thing that's going on, even with SNAP benefits, when you realize that 62% of people who have SNAP benefits are Caucasian, This is not a black issue. This is
poor
a citizen issue. And when you realize that there are tons and tons of people who are being pushed out simply because they don't have a level of wealth, and then we look at all the other benefits of people who probably cannot work. My mom is a person who now gets, like disability and all those types of things. And she did 40 years at Eli Lilly. But at the end of the day, she can't do what she did. I don't want to look and be the people who say we push people out simply because they're hurting. We have to be people to say, what do we do for those who have served, who have done well, who have been great citizens, who have paid taxes, who have figured out how to, who have done the things that we say good citizens do. We don't want to be the city nor the state that pushes those people out.
I love it. So let me just go back to affordable housing. Brad, thank you for the jab on that. I did catch it. So there's two very important things about affordable housing in Indianapolis. Number one, you need a rental cap. So the number of homes that are being purchased by outside investors, large corporations that are being turned into corporate rentals is choking the city. Those homes should be under a government program, a city program where they are rehabbed and made available for people to purchase. The rental situation in Indianapolis will get worse because you can go in, get a bunch of homes, maybe $110,000, make them some type of reasonable rental for people. For those with Section 8 vouchers, those are the ones that those out-of-state investors want because they're going to get paid regardless. So that's a whole system there that needs to be fixed. Number two, the other part of affordable housing is that there are people who are they're working poor. These are people who've got moderately decent jobs. They're paying an exorbitant amount in rent. They're paying $1,500. They're paying $1,800. Rent. They're often college educated. They live in Indianapolis. They're tied to the area, and their lifestyle is such that they will never be able to save $10,000, $12,000 for a down payment. But they have good character. They're paying their rent. They're paying. They're paying.
That's worth something.
Oh no!
That's an attaboy.
Brad, you know what? You always laugh too early. You always laugh too early.
I'm waiting.
I'm gonna a couple more sentences, Brad. You're gonna be eating that. So there is a program called NACA. It's the National. It's a neighborhood program. These are 100% financed home loans backed by Bank of America. It's some national neighborhood organization. They are now in Indianapolis. They do character-based lending. When people come in, they are in maybe 30 cities across the United States. They cater to underserved communities where home ownership is underrepresented and people are not making money. They do character-based lending. Brad, laugh again. They are looking
what if
they
they're
are
just a
looking
good
at
actor?
people who pay their rent,
They're good
pay their cell phone bills, and handle their obligations, but they may not be the people, and they may have some blemishes on their credit record. And instead of saying, you know what, you're never going to get a home loan, they give these people home loans, and they are no down payment, no closing costs. And NACA's their foreclosure rate is less than 0.1%. So when you talk about affordable housing, and it gets better. You can buy a house with a Section 8 voucher. I've been with these people, NACA, on two separate occasions in Indianapolis when they've come. These people are changing lives, and they are in other major cities across the United States. They are backed by Bank of America. Bank of America has $1 billion, I think it's like $10 billion to lend because of what they did with the mortgage crisis years ago. So I am sad that you laughed when I said character-based lending, but this program is designed to help people who make money to pay their bills, but do not necessarily have $10,000, $20,000 down payment in homes. That is with affordability for homes.
Well, I'll tell you, I saw the William Bumpus.
There should be more programs like that. That's great.
Well, you know what? You didn't even know about this one, and you laughed at it when I said character-based lending.
He was just laughing at somebody's character.
I am so put out that you think that's funny. I'm so put out that you think that's funny.
Oh boy, we got a little animosity here on the Mouthwash show.
It's the idea that you could fool whoever's allowing you to get a loan. Like there's no merit involved in it, right?
The merit is paying your obligations. That's the merit. They're character-based lending. I don't know if you missed this. They're looking at
Tiffany, I think we're just
your rent, and your rent does not show up on your credit score. Did you know that?
Yeah, no, I totally know that.
So that's the issue. You've got people who've been paying rent for 30 years but have no credit score because it doesn't show up in their credit history. Greg, what do you call that?
That should be fixed then. Like
that's 70% of black people.
How much?
70%. Only 30% of black people in Indianapolis own a home.
No, and that should be like I feel like because I rent too. I'm talking as a renter in this scenario.
Speak for your people.
Yeah, you're in your new house too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tonight's like my third
smells
night.
like new paint. You got that new paint car.
Yeah,
smell.
it's weird. You know,
it's like nothing like latex.
It's weird noises.
But I'm going to refer.
But not everybody has that like amount of money laying around, and so yeah, I totally think that there should be programs to assist with that, and I think I have a problem with the term character based because it just sounds like you have to do an interview, and if they like you, then you're in.
So
that's all I was.
You have to take a class and you have to go through training, and then they sit down. You sit with a credit counselor. They go over your bank statements. They help you out. I mean, it is character based, and so this is the thing. If you've been paying rent and your rental payment history does not show up as an obligation that you are able to satisfy every month, if that's not the basis of your credit score, but credit cards that some people use wantonly and then misuse and have that on their back for the next 13 years, what is a better representation? How I'm going to handle my responsibilities? Like, if you're renting and you're paying your rent, I think that should say something about who you are, because most renters, they pay their rent, they pay their cell phone bills.
But I mean, I think renters know that too. That, like, I mean, they're aware that the rent isn't affecting their credit one way or the other.
But it also doesn't help them. It also doesn't give them any type of credit history when they go to apply for something, applying for a car loan, applying for a mortgage.
That shit is expensive too. Yeah, like
I got the same problem.
www.naca.com.
I got the same problem with that, and my problem is I don't have any credit. I don't borrow any money, so I'm in the same boat as somebody like that because they say, "Oh, well, you need."
Well,
to
John, you have assets and collateral. You're not. In the
yeah,
same
I don't.
boat.
I mean, it's
You're not in
my,
the same boat.
my father-in-law used to say the bank doesn't loan money to people that have it.
Yeah, you're not in the same boat. It's not. Those
but-
are not. Those one is like a log, and you're like a yacht. They're not the same boat.
Well, I'm like the log. The Bumpus talks about 38th Street corridor. My first house was 42nd and Post in Brentwood. I bought a condo back in the day, and that was, it was, I think $6,000 maybe.
That's probably nice back then, John.
It was. I mean, it was a little hoodish, but I was good. I mean, my neighbor tried to burn it down, cooking some greens and stuff one night, but it was all good. But in my, I know, Greg, I would get hate mail for that. But anyway, it's and it was okay. It wasn't bad back then. I got out of there in the 90s. I started in 87.
Yeah, it's changed drastically.
Yeah, my condo's still there, but most of them are torn down. And the big problem with that is Brentwood was condos and they're individually owned, whereas Green Tree was one big apartment unit, and they could get rid of that one. But that's a mess up there trying to get rid of it. But anyway, the point being, I could get out with my little $7.50 job back in the 80s, and I could actually buy something. I could find something that was decent and live there. You can't, even here in Mars Hill, I moved here 10 years ago. You could buy a house for $20K all day, every day on Sunday. Now these same houses are going for $250 and up.
The market's ridiculous.
It is
ridiculous.
It is. And I think, some of that is our neighborhood's gotten better, but some of it is just, that's what it's going to cost to live.
But here's the thing. Wait. So this is part of it. And yes, one person working a minimum wage job. Yeah, it's going to be very, very tough. But think about
impossible.
Impossible. Could two people do it?
No,
Maybe, but then like, what about childcare? What about?
I don't think so.
Two people
I-
don't have to have a child.
Yeah, I think it'd be very tough. Yeah.
So that's the thing. And so, when we encourage, if we encourage marriage within the community, like one man, one woman, and
Sure.
then we work together to get a place and pay bills, and we grow and build together. I mean, that's kind of a really
That's
great
your
way
best
to
bet.
live lives.
Yeah. Well, let's say
I agree. That's your
Like,
best
you
bet.
have- but that's like horrible though to me though, that you have to have like a roommate for life to get through it.
A
that's- I
roommate
mean,
or a
that is the
spouse.
reality of
Get
young
outta
people.
here.
Roommate, spouse, side hustle, or a lot of money. What you think that minimum wage should carry you through your life? One person forever?
Nah.
No, but like,
you can't do
what?
it.
Why
It's
does
not
one?
Not with
It's
quality.
minimum.
Not with quality. Not at all.
Yeah, and we talk about the minimum wage. I think my
minimum,
lowest paid employee is 3 times minimum wage. If you got value, that minimum wage doesn't mean anything. And I tell people, invest in yourself.
But it's a starting point though. Still.
It's a starting
Like,
point for a paper boy or somebody that's got school
Yeah.
and.
I don't know. We need to get back to unions and going on strikes and stuff.
Now union.
Go back to the
my
1880s
union,
and just like
my union guy. My union
Come on,
guy
workers.
cost me $47.50 an hour for a labor. $47.50.
No, John, but you would have to be on the side of the workers. Like
I am. When I pay them $50 an hour, I'm on their side.
That's what I mean. Like,
I'm truly on their side. In fact, I think I'm investing in them. But
John, you'd make more money if you just quit and just lived off the state.
I could quit
You
and live
must
off the
really love
mouthwash
moving
earnings.
bricks around. Stop, quit.
Well, I could take my Social Security, but I don't want to, I don't want to get it yet. But of course, Lisa filed for hers, and she's not even, she's ready to go. I'm
Shout
like,
out to Lisa.
don't throw the dirt on my coffin
You just
yet.
lay
I'm still
bricks on the side.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, hey, I think we could go for like 3 more hours, but I think we're going to wind this up.
Yeah, Greg, I love when you're on the show, man.
Yeah. I got a little news flash for you. So we got Micah Beckwith coming on next week. Greg's going to sit in on the panel. So we're going to have even more fun than that. And,
Hey.
we're going to be that. And I think there was somebody else.
You get Greg and Brad?
Greg and Brad? Oh, yeah. Greg and Brad together. But it's like, so
It'll be fun, Brad.
So
I'm looking forward to
is
it.
it like us and them?
well, it might be us and them.
I think it is. I think it's
It usually
us.
breaks down into an us and them argument.
It
I
takes
feel
two,
like-
it takes 2 people to operate a seesaw. So
It's us.
So we are not doing. Lucy's not here with the conspiracy theory, so we're not doing that. We're just going to call it.
Taxation is
call it
theft, though.
Oh yeah, we got to put that. Lucy's with her grandkids. I got my grandkids Friday night. Oh, it's going to be
I
fun.
have a conspiracy theory.
Okay, we'll let you do one.
I think that people who live outside, I think a lot of the leaders in Indianapolis don't care.
Wow, that's not a. Wow.
You're going out on a limb
Well,
on this one, Tiffany.
you really went deep on that one. Woo. Let me. It's all good.
Do the leaders of Indianapolis
Tiffany, that was good.
That was, I mean, so profound.
Profound, Tiffany. That's good.
That's okay. All right, kids. Let's see if I can find the way out of this thing. So, hey, yeah, stick around for a second after. I always forget to tell the guests and then they go off. Stick
Hey,
around for
Greg,
a second
stay on.
afterwards. Let's see what we got here. I got the right moves here on the ending. We don't have. Okay, this is it. All right, hey, everybody, say peace out, and we'll see you next week. Micah Beckwith, Greg's coming back. Oh,
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
I'll be providing the sparklers and the firecrackers. All right, let's go.
Yay.